Hello. In my last video I showed you a very complicated way of making this impossible triangle. I've since done some more work on that process and found a way of making not only that triangle but many other complex geometric shapes and objects, and it all starts with this simple parallelogram or variants there of it. So let's just recreate that. It's very simple. You're going to take your square tool, holding shift, just drag out a perfect square, and then we're going to select that and we're going to resize it, making sure the aspect ratio is locked. I'm going to convert that to 50, and then you need to convert this to a path. So you can right click, convert to path. After that you need to break this apart, so you can either come up here to the arrange menu and drop down to break apart, or just use the keyboard shortcut Control and B. So I'm going to take the two top sides and I'm going to rotate those by 30 degrees. And then I'm just going to simply recombine the object by dragging it, snapping it back together. There we go. So just make sure that they're nicely snapped. And then we need to recombine it. So you can either go to your node editing tool and snap each of the nodes onto each other, or come to the edit menu and come down and auto join selected shapes, or you can use again the keyboard shortcut Alt and J. So let's recombine that and made that into a whole shape now. So we need to make the other variants of this shape now, so I'm just going to select that. I'm going to right click, or you can press Control and D and duplicate it, and I'm just going to flip that. Doesn't matter which way you flip it, it'll be the same. And then duplicate it again. I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut this time, and this time I'm going to rotate that copy by 60 degrees, and that'll give me what would be the lid or the top of a cube. So once you've got these shapes, you can make simple cubes, but if you want to make holes and things, you're also going to need some triangles. So if we just take this one again, duplicate it once more, get it off to the side, and in order to make a triangle, you just come to your node editing tool and just go over one end node and just press D on your keyboard, and that'll make your triangle for you. So that's the basic shapes that you need. I like to make all of the variants of it, but once you've got them, save you having to make them again. If you just select them all and in your art library, create a library where you'll be able to find them. I've just called mine 3D, and then import graphic from project, give them a name. So I've called these 1x because they're the first size that I'm going to use of all of the different shapes. I've already made mine, so I'm not going to do that. You can also make other sizes so that you don't have to keep stacking things. So I've got 1x2, 1x3, 1x4, and the same with sort of 3x's. So these are 3x1, 3x2, 3x3. Get those out of the way for the moment. So let's say I want to make a bigger cube though. I can also just resize these, say 300%, make that bigger. And then if I recombine this just by dragging and dropping and snapping the corners together, there's a simple cube. Let's get that little fella out of the way. Okay, but say I want to put a hole in there. Let's go through this front face. If I duplicate that now, I've got a second copy, exactly the same as the front face, but let's make a slightly smaller hole. You can make it any size you want to. Let's make a hole up there, say. So now that doesn't look realistic because you can't, it's flat. So we just need to duplicate this again, drag that out of the way, and now we need to put a triangle into there that will make it look like there's a hole through it. So I'm going to duplicate this twice, in fact, because I want both ends of the triangle, and you'll see why in a moment. So for this, just go to the node editing tool, and I'm going to delete that node, and on this one I'm going to delete that end node. So then we can just drag and drop this into there, and that makes it look more three-dimensional. And the reason I'm doing this one is to make it so that I can color that face the same as the top. So let's put that on a grey layer. Let's put this on a grey layer. And then when you drag that in there, it looks more realistic. So if this face was white, that face would be white, etc. So that's it really. You can play around and make all sorts of complex shapes, even using different sizes of the parallelograms combined together to create things like this impossible hexagon. And if you shade that with gradients, this gradient didn't work out very nicely, but if you put gradients on it as a gradient fill, then you can make it look even deeper and richer, similar to this. So hope you got something out of this video. I hope you found some value. If you did, I'd really appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. Leave your comments down in the comment section below, so that you can help me grow my channel from these very, very early stages. Thanks for your time. Thanks for watching. Bye.